Alright, guys. Welcome back to a new One Piece chapter reaction. I'm a little bit delayed with this, right? I'm not sure if I'm gonna upload this today or tomorrow, because today I might be planning something special. So I might be uploading this tomorrow. But today's Tuesday. The chapter came out 2 days ago, but I couldn't record it 2 days ago. And I definitely couldn't yesterday. Yesterday, I was working university almost all day. I came back dead tired, bro. I came back at like 4 p.m. I went to sleep like an hour and a half later, almost 6 p.m. I went to sleep. I'm not joking. I was so tired. I went to sleep. So yeah, I decided to like postpone the chapter for today. Today I also went to university, had a shorter day instead of working all day. Only quote unquote worked 6 hours versus the about 10 hours I worked yesterday. So I was like, all right, today I had a bit of a shorter day, but that's strictly university work. I did also do some other stuff that I needed to do that were important to do. So yeah, if you're seeing by the way below there my wheels turning like left and right like that, I'm just like fixing the stick drift basically. This helps the stick drift. But don't worry, I'll stop when gonna start reading the chapter. So don't worry about that. Don't worry about the game. We're not here for the Rocket League. The Rocket League is just the medium in which we use to record these videos. The Rocket League is not the important part. It's the One Piece chapter action that's important. So yeah, I am also incredibly furious because what happened to me, bro, something really annoying happened to me. So basically, I was in Germany, right, in my foreign exchange semester, and what happened to me was, bro, I had this contract with the, transportation company, and in Germany you have this thing called a Deutschland ticket, which is a public transportation ticket that lets you use almost any public transportation in Germany. The only thing you can't use are the high-speed trains, right? What are they called again? Dang, I actually forgot what they're called. But the high-speed trains provided by the Deutsche Bahn, and they're very clearly marked which are the high-speed trains and which aren't, because the slow-speed trains are nowhere near as fast. But anything else you can use, trams, buses, everything. So I have a Deutschland ticket contract, and it was supposed to end in September because that's when I was going back to Norway. But then I was like, found out that I don't need it for the month of September. I only needed it for the month of August because I was returning at the very, very end of August, right? So 1st of September I'd be back in Norway. So I canceled the contract around, I don't know, the 20th of August, thinking, okay, I'm canceling the contract now. Don't have to pay for the month of September. And that's something that it says in the contract that I'm allowed to do. And then, but there's a clause in the contract that I didn't read when I initially, well, maybe I did read it, but I didn't pay attention. I don't know how. Here, it's humanly possible, but that says that you need to cancel the contract before the 10th of the month for the following month, and I didn't know that, so I went about my day not paying for the month of September, and that came to bite me. And the worst part is I didn't get any reminders. I should be getting reminders, bro. You should have paid for this, and then I would have checked. But wait a minute, I canceled the contract, and you know, and everything should be fine, right? And then maybe I would have figured it out. But yeah, now I received an invoice. I'm in debt. I'm not in debt. I repaid the debt, but I received an invoice that was now, the Deutschland ticket for students, for university students. It was cheaper for us. It's 38 euros. I think for non-students it's like 50 something euros. But I got a debt collecting invoice today that I paid back immediately. I was like, gosh darn it. And I had to pay basically twice the amount. I had to pay almost 80 euros. I had to pay 76 euro. Annoying, annoying. It's a lot of money too. As for a university student, it's a lot of money. But the thing is, if you don't pay the debt, it's gonna get worse. I mean, it's already this bad, right? The first step was like 50 something euros because they sent me a reminder, but it wasn't sent to me. I don't know why. Maybe it's some systematic issue about how I traveled back to Norway and their reminder wasn't sent. Because I'd be way happy to pay 50 euro over the 78 that I had to pay, or whatever, 77 I had to pay. But it is what it is. I didn't, and I could have called like talking about how maybe there's some jurisdiction issues with me traveling back to Norway that made it hard for me to be contacted. But I was like, I'll just pay them the money, and yeah. So I'm debt free of the transportation company. Hopefully they never contact me again. Ooh, I'm mad. So that's why I'm mad, because that's a lot of money. Okay, that's a lot of money. That's like $76. It's like almost food for the month for me, right? I paid them Nah, I pay them less than I would spend for food throughout a month. I spend like 100 and something euros probably on food for the month. That's probably how much money like 120 euros. I haven't allocated money for food. I just spend as much as I need to for this specific month. I don't like allocating money for and maximizing like I'm only allowed to spend this much of this money this month. I don't like doing that. Because I'm already a frugal person anyway, so I don't overspend when it comes to food, when it comes to anything. So I spend around 100 and something 20 euro, I'd say. So 76, that's like, you know, a good percentage of the way to paying, just for the food for the month, right? So it's a big hit to my economy, is what I'm saying. And I'm frugal, so I did have the money to pay for it. But yeah, man, that's like I said, like 60, 70% of the money that I could have, what I'm saying, paid it for like eating food or anything else or anything, other necessities. That's really all I spend my money on, these necessities. I don't really spend it on much else. But actually, I did buy a new controller because again, you see the stick drift. Not to play Rocket League, but to play other games, so that it'll be easier for also for you guys that I can record more video for you guys, and because now that I'm done with the Mineko, so I did spend money on that. But even spending the money on controller, especially PS4 controller, is less expensive than the the depth fee that I had to pay. This controller cost me about 50 euro, so it's like way less. So, that money could have gone on to buy this controller. I mean, I bought this controller before I knew about the debt, but yeah. So economically not doing exactly the best right now, but at least I'm alive. At least I'm very grateful that I have enough food to eat for the month, that I can survive, that I have a home to stay, that I can sleep, and have food to eat, water to drink, etc. That's to me that's the most important part. Um, I'm okay with I'm okay with getting punished like that. You know what I'm saying? But also contracts in Norway are so much simpler than in Germany. So that's bad. But okay, One Piece. We're here for the One Piece chapter. Sorry for rambling there. Last chapter, I read through it pretty quickly, which is kind of my fault. But I needed to go and do something, so I typically read slower. But the chapter pace I read it on last time was probably about the pace that I would read the chapter if I was reading by myself. If that makes sense. So that the pace that I read the chapter last time was about how much time I spent reading chapters, like when I was in Germany and I couldn't record videos for y'all. So I think the video ended up being less than 20 minutes, like 15, 17 minutes. That's roughly how long I actually probably spent less than that. Probably like 13, 14 minutes is probably how long I spend on reading One Piece chapter if I'm not making a YouTube video out of it. And that's definitely longer than the average chapter of any other manga. Like Black Clover recently had 3 chapters come out. Because Black Clover's been doing that right now, where it's splitting 3 chapters in a row, then waiting half a year to a year, then another 3 chapters, because it's going to end really, really soon, and the author was overworked before the schedule, so he had to do it like this. And those 3 chapters, I can tell you, took me all 3 together 15 minutes to read. But there was a lot of fighting going on, not as much to read, especially because now we're in the climactic parts of the arc, which there's a lot of fighting, which is true. But I mean, each chapter, I swear, took me 2-3 minutes to read, actually. Less than 15 minutes, like probably 12 minutes to read all 3 chapters. And there was some text in, I think, the first chapter, but I mean, I can read a regular One Piece chapter in the pace that I can read about 3 Black Clover chapters, or honestly, 2 to 3 Jujutsu Kaisen chapters. The only thing that makes Jujutsu Kaisen harder to read is the amount of like complicated power explanation that Gege liked to do with the story there. But Jujutsu Kaisen is now over, so I've already finished. Obviously, the manga ended years ago. This one, holy crap! But yeah, Black Clover chapters go really easy to read. I once read the My Hero Academia chapter, very quick to read. But One Piece chapters have a lot of text, especially more recently compared to when One Piece first began. The first couple of chapters in the earlier volumes went quick as heck, but post time skip, there should be more text, more dense paneling. So it's gotten harder and harder to read, well, takes longer and longer to read One Piece chapters. And also One Piece is one of my absolute favorite stories, if not my favorite. I think it is my favorite story ever. I would say so, yeah. It is my favorite story ever. So when you add that factor in, I really like to spend every single chapter just reading everything that character says, deepening it, thinking about it, reflecting over it, and then before, just instead of just reading, just read a chapter, just to get the main content and go, right? I like to really think about all the various details, or most of the various details that are in One Piece chapter. And doing these YouTube reactions that I've been doing the last couple of years for One Piece has actually made it made me even more analytical than I was before, even more in depth into reading than I was before. So that's why I'm appreciating it even more. And you guys joining in on this journey with me makes it all the better. So 100%, I'm not thinking of stopping this anytime soon. So last chapter, 11 to 66, and that's another thing with me doing these videos is that I get to repeat last chapters, get my mind into things, and you know what I'm saying, get into it. So last chapter we got a color spread, right? Remember that one with the sweet potatoes that I somehow got right. That they were sweet potatoes. I told you guys in last chapter I'm really bad with remembering the names of animals, fruits, vegetables, like a bunch of name things I'm really bad at. So the chapter of this week, 1167. But yeah, last week, number 66, Harold was the big thing, and the way I would call Harold, at least my impression of him so far, is he has the right mind, he has the right heart, but he's a bit misguided. I think he's going to go simping. He's simping too hard for the world government, which is not the way to go, man. Like the world government, just you need to just put a stop to them. You can't just go, oh, like. Or maybe they'll accept us. Maybe if we show them that we're good people. It's like, no, the world government, they're pieces of garbage. They're irredeemable. You can't work with them like that. At least that's my view. The One Piece world government. That's not my view. Obviously, if any authorities are watching this, Norwegian authorities, European authorities, that's not what I think of your government, right? Norwegian government, like I think you're way better than world government in One Piece, right? European government, like European Commission, this is not directed towards you, okay? But the One Piece government, like, horrible. We can all agree the way they do things is pretty horrible. Um, so there's no simply for them is not the wave in my opinion. So that was the big thing that happened last chapter. But we also got Rox's death. He was killed by Sommers. I remember his name now. Sommers killing him, and then yeah, those were the God's Knights. And so I'm glad now that I remember Sommer killing him, and obviously Gunko. And then we had Matthew was another one of the God's Knights, and obviously Garling and Shamrock. But those are like, come on, you know those. Um, so there's 10 God's Knights, right? So there's a lot more that we haven't found out about, and might be new members that have come in throughout the 38 years since the last God's Knights we just saw. Even though they don't change that often, because they don't seem to age that much. At least when they become, well, Garling aged, but Summers looks the same 38 years ago. So some of them might be immortal, some of them might not be, but we do know that when they're girls say they're basically immortal, because we saw how Saturn was alive 200 years ago, right? With he looked the same when with Emet, so the robot, right, from Akat Emet. So yeah, um, but yeah, beyond that, the God Valley incident was stopped. We saw Shanks, baby Shanks, with the Roger Pirates, which was a lot of fun. We got to see Dragon, wanting to get out of the cell, right? And saying that he doesn't like the government, he doesn't like, his own dad, he doesn't like his ways. But we got to see a little bit of that Garp mentality of he's going to fix things from the bottom of the cliff, right? He had that discussion with Sengoku, but Sengoku has his own philosophy of being willing to look at the other way towards the upper, the people in power in the true people in power in the world government doing some weird shady stuff, which is interesting. Sengoku, I am absolutely against that, but yeah. So yeah, that's about the biggest things I remember from last chapter. We also got a bit of Loki crying over Rock's death, but beyond that, I can't think of much else that happened. I mean, there's probably some other small details in there that I'm missing, but yeah, important for me to go through the last chapter like I'm doing right now because I did read through it a bit more quicker than usual. But this time, don't worry, I'll be reading through the chapter like normal. I'm actually gonna be locked in like normal. So let's get to this chapter 1167. Is 67, holy crap, I can't speak. The chapter is called Ida's Sons. Okay, so while Harold is out there trying to, get Elbaf to be part of the world government, be an official kingdom, and trying for peace, um, we have Ida's sons because Ida's sons are important too. You know what I'm saying? Like You know, we should you know, you're saying Haru didn't Loki. They're very important characters, especially the current story, right? Harold is already a dead man. He already died years ago. So now we're getting a bit more on Ida and Ida's sons, which I think was important. Is her name pronounced Ida, by the way? Ida. See, that's the thing. In Japanese, in katakana, it's Ida. So her name is Ida, not Ida, by the way. Ida, which makes sense actually. I'm stupid as heck. In Norwegian, her name would be pronounced Ida. So why would I pronounce it Ida? Ida would only be make sense in English. In Norwegian would make sense, and we know that Elbaf and the Elbaf culture and the names are inspired by Viking era. So obviously, Norwegians were very much involved in that, right? So I don't know why. I don't know why I was saying Ida instead of Ida. It's obviously Ida. So we have a little bit of like a what do you call these? I guess reader request. I mean, it says reader request down there, so I guess we'll call it reader request. Like a drawing from given to us by Oda. You know what I mean. The reader request. Let's call it that. There's a cat that is bipedal. That's what you call bipedal, right? When you can walk on two with your 2 feet, and then you use your hands. Use 2 legs for walking, and then if you're what is it called, quadrupedal, then you walk with all 4 feet, right? So it's a bipedal cat holding a book that says Big Book of Fish. Of course, the cat will be interested in fish. There's a chef, seemingly he's wearing an apron and everything. He looks like a chef. He's also got a bandana on, or you know. He wants the Big Book of Fish. I'm guessing so that he can cook his food. And and the cat's running because it's apparently bipedal. Um, okay. um, sure. I'm not. I guess should we not? I guess it's One Piece. We shouldn't really question too much why she can why the cat can walk. I can't speak. Why the cat can walk like that? But okay. Oh yeah, and of course, yeah, we're in Kokoyashi Village, right? Kokoyashi Village. So we're seeing Nojiko and Genzo looking at the cat, and they're like, "Oh, look at the cute cat holding the book." So the reader request says Gen and Nojiko scolding a cat trying to steal a book, but they're not really mad by the ideal Sanji, you know. All right. Um. Yeah. Or is this actually Kokoyashi Village? This could just be somewhere in the Konomi Islands in general. Could just be. Alright. Let's get to the chapter. Here we go. 33 years ago, so 5 years after God Valley. And there's Morgans, okay. Todayo! We were all freaking out that there were pirates off the coast when all of a sudden, an enormous figure appears out of the mist behind them. Would that have been Harold? An enormous figure appears out of the mist behind them. Seafloor prison impelled down. Kaboom! And the next thing I knew, the ship was all in splinters. We were sunk in a matter of seconds. Yeah, by a Neptunian, right? No, it was like human. What? And did this event take place in the Florian Triangle? Not even close. You think there's any fish worth catching out there? We don't go near it. All I can say is, it was a monster in human form. So a lot of people testifying all this information. An enormous humanoid figure. What? And it had nothing to do with the Florian Triangle. Are they not just talking about Harold? At this time, the countries of the Grand Line were abuzz with a frightening rumor, a tale of a lurking monster that struck its targets, mostly pirate ships from the deeper mists out at sea. It is Harold, okay, yeah. In truth, this monster was Harold, yeah. But to the people on the sea who'd never even seen a giant before, the experience was pure terror. I'd imagine so, yeah. As part of his sworn oath of 1,000-year atonement, Harald assisted the Navy's efforts to uphold order. Okay. And look at the scar on his head after he tore off his own horns. Meanwhile, the pirates who scattered to the winds after God Valley, so Kado, IP your big mom, would grow in power over the next decade or two until they reached their primes and became the faces of their era. All the while, as the pirates around them focused on claiming territory, one crew achieved the seemingly impossible and succeeded in circumnavigating the globe. Let's go. Now you have to remember, being a pirate king was not a coined term before Roger did it. So because when Roger became a pirate king, people in his crew and he was like, and they were like, Roger was like, I'm the pirate king? Huh, interesting name. Alright, that's funny. Let's go with that. Sure, that's what they're calling me now. Sure, let's roll with that, right? So it's not like it wasn't a thing before Roger did it. So we hear all the time Luffy wants to be a pirate king. That's not something that Joy Boy was necessarily pirate king or anything like that, right? So, yeah. The crew led by the king of the pirates, Gold Roger, when he was captured sometime later and publicly executed, the world government assumed it would serve as a demonstration of their strength. However, it did the exact opposite, and there's Buggy too. The exact opposite happened. The allure of his massive fortune, the One Piece, sent the world into an era of frenzied madness. It's like Oda's repeating the story for the people that have just started reading One Piece now. Like, this is the first chapter they read, or it's like, say for the people who weren't here since the start of One Piece, by the way, this is what it's about. To counteract the arrival of the unforeseen great era of piracy, Navy headquarters recruited over a dozen giants from various regions in the hopes of bolstering their ranks. Only a dozen? Okay. It says over a dozen, but that's still not enough, surely. Can I guess that Saul is one of them? No, I can't. No, I can. Because the O'Hara incident happened 22 years ago. Yeah, the O'Hara incident happened way later. It's not that far-fetched to think that Saul could have been one of these dozen giants. Harald, meanwhile, who had been faithfully serving as a tool of the Navy. He was huge, an ancient giant, they say. I wanted as a slave. Oh no. Was finally given official access to the Holy Land this year. So 5 years later, after God Valley, he was given access. A Shallows Covenant. So he was allowed to talk to the Gorosei? Okay. Okay. A Shallows Covenant. Indeed, says Mars, right? No, wait. That's Mercury, actually, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure that's Mercury. Anyway. You're now a trusted weapon of the Holy Knights of God. What? A devoted blade. What? It's an honor. Whoa. He's a God Knight? What? That's crazy. That's crazy. They gave him God Knight status. That's crazy. What? Huh. I guess it's... Surely this is just a move to, like, use him as a tool. You know what I'm saying? As a tool to have him do whatever they want. Because they can control Albaf using him. Because why would they give him such high status as a God Knight? I mean, if he's that loyal to the world government, I guess. Okay. The covenant has 3 stages. The Shallows Covenant is but a mere trace of bond, but the Depths Covenant and Abyssal Covenant are reserved for only 13 exclusive individuals. Ah, so that's where Garling and them are at. And Shamrock currently. Who can enter into a contract with the true God. What is this God you speak of? If the day should come that you are made a proper knight, then you will know the truth in the depths of this world. Uh-huh. So he's not really a God's knight for real, is what they're saying. It's just like, you know what I'm saying? You're like, here, you get like a little kitty nice fun trial run, and we'll give you your tattoo symbol thing, and then you have fun with that. But like, you're not a for real, you know what I'm saying? You're not a for real member. I see. And is that when Elbaf will be allowed to join the government? Of course, Harald. It will be announced to the world, and you will be welcome. I'm grateful for this honor. I'll do anything you ask of me. I think he's misguided. I think Harald is misguided. His heart is there, but he's misguided, bro. Look, he's just... They're playing him like a fiddle, bro. Shangara, the Knight's Temple, land of the gods. Shangara, I mean, that just sounds like where Garling is at, where Shanks play. Like, that sounds like his homeland. And you can see right here, Garling too. He's gotten much older now. This is just 5 years? No, wait, this is 5 years later. I don't believe that. Are you sure there hasn't been another time skip? Actually, this is after Roger became king of the pirates. So this is 24 years ago, so at least... Or around, yeah, 14 years after the God Valley incident. Still, though, Garling still aged horribly. 14 years later, he looks like this much of an old man. Come on, bro. Like, let's say he was... Let's say he was 30 something. 30 in the God Valley incident. He'd be like 40 something now. Like, let's say he's 50 now. He shouldn't be this old, looking this old, though. That's my point. He should not be looking this old. He looks way too old for only 14 years to have passed. He looks like he's aged 25 years at least. Like, what the... He's got, what, like, a... I mean, I don't know if it's white or not, but it looks like a white beard, white hair. His face is all wrinkly. He just looks like an old man. He looks like a minimum 50-something, 60-year-old man. Maybe not 60. 50 minimum. And when he was younger in God's Valley, he didn't look like he was 20... what am I saying? He didn't look he was only 14 years younger, is my point. If he's, let's say if he's 55 now, he didn't look like he was 41 then. He looked younger than that. So that's my point. But okay, the Knights Temple, Land of the Gods. Commander, Holy Knights of Godfrey Garling family, Saint Garling. He's the commander, okay. So he commands all the Gods Knights, including Harald. Where is the Great One thinking? Can the King of Elbaf actually take orders? And there's Shamrock too. Wow, he really looks like a clone of Shanks. Of course, your word is my command, he says. Jeez. We will call if we need you. Keep a long distance transponder snail on your person. You are free to visit the lower world, but you will not speak a word of what goes on here. Understood. Okay. 20 years ago, Fishman Island, Ryuga Kingdom. So this is after Roger died. After his execution. Ho 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 ho. Oh, did Harald go and visit Neptune? Barra ha 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 ha. It's been too long since I had such a good laugh, Neptune. He did go visit Neptune. Wow, look at Harald's size compared to Neptune. Like, y'all remember how big Neptune was compared to Luffy and them during Fishman Island. Look at how large Harald is. Now you really get to see the size comparison. That's crazy. The same, my friend, the same. We have too many troubles on our minds. First of all, no, I very much doubt. Oh wow, Neptune looks younger here. Of course, it's been 20 years. First of all, no, I very much doubt your son is some kind of demon child. I mean, can he possibly be worse than you were? Well, when you put it that way, actually, a fortune teller told me that I would receive a daughter 4 years from now. Ooh, Charlie, Sharky Charlie, giving the info, fortune telling info. What do you say? We can betroth your Loki to my daughter. Bro. Okay. Now that's crazy. That is next level arranged marriage. No. This is crazy. Number one, is Neptune even married by this point? Oh, he probably is actually. Maybe Fukaboshi and them are about to be birthed soon or something, or they're born by now. Maybe. Okay, so let's say he's his wife. Number two, his wife hasn't even conceived yet. Like, Shirahoshi, as a any sort of physical existence, doesn't exist. Like, her existence doesn't exist yet. It'll be 4 years from now, right? So you'd think, okay, she gets pregnant around 3 years from now. That's way later down the line. And bro is already saying, already arranging for his daughter to get married to an already birthed, by the way, a 20-plus-year-old giant, which you know how age differences be in later in like giants and fishmen and mermen, mermaids. You know how it goes. How old is Loki by this point? 20 years ago. How old is Loki? When was Loki born again? Definitely before God Valley, right? Like 50 years ago? So look at this point. Okay, let's say Loki is at least 30 years old by this point. This girl has not even been birthed yet. She's gonna be birthed in 4 years' time. And my brother and nephew is saying, I'm gonna get a daughter in 4 years, by the way, according to a fortune teller. So, you know, when I hooked up together in an arranged marriage, like, are we serious? You know, you for one thing, she doesn't exist as a physical being, as a thing. For a second, you don't know if even if she was born. You don't know anything about her personality, whether she would even like being with Loki, who's by the way more than 30 years older than her. She's not even born yet. You know, okay. So you don't know her personality. You don't know anything about her. You don't know anything about Loki either. I mean, other than him being a demon child and talking with Harl, I'll give you that. But like, this is some crazy level of arranged marriage, bro. That's wild. We can betroth your Loki to my daughter. That's crazy. Look at Harl's face, like, oh? Barahaha! Forget about it. Listen, I'm not talking about any ordinary mermaid. Supposedly, she might be born with wild, disruptive powers! She's Poseidon! Although that is interesting, though, wouldn't it be? Like a giant mixed mermaid breed? That sounds sick. I'm half giant, half mermaid? Or half merman. Let's say if you're born as a man, merman, half giant. Ooh, you for real get superpowers. You can breathe underwater, and you got the strength of a giant. Like, bro, this is how the Buccaneers were born and stuff. And the Buccaneers just uh, like light giants, right? Scientifically engineered, bioengineered giants or something almost. They're still obviously human beings. Like they still have biological. That's why they're bio. Uh, Technological. But I'm wondering, like, hmm. Man, if I'm in the One Piece world, maybe you do somewhat play the genetics degree to some degree, right? Like, if I'm a fishman, I'm like, okay, if I'm a child with a giant, boom, we got a mixed breed. If I'm a mixed breed, I'm then okay, I'm a mixed breed giant fishman. Okay, let me have a child with a mink. Boom, we get Sulan powers. Ooh, me I'm mixed, and then my child would then be mixed, fishman, giant, and mink. Oh, just start playing around, bro. Basically, what Big Mom was doing, but like on an even like more meticulous scale. I don't know, man. Okay. Getting very dangerously close to eugenics here, so I'm gonna stop there. I'm not. Y'all know I don't actually. In real life, I don't think at such a thing. I don't think like oh, I'm I'm not by the way, but let's say I'm 6'5", 6'6" height or something, right? I'm a really tall guy. Let me get married to a tall woman. Boom. We won the genetic lottery. We'll get a really tall child and they can play basketball. Or I'm not thinking like, okay, um, you know, ooh, I got the like I don't want to get there, but I got the ethnicity, like I got the race of black. If I mix with an Asian, like our child will look like this. Like to me, that's crazy thinking. I will never think like that. I will never actually, like, you know what I'm saying. I'm just gonna just yeah, listen, fall in love with whoever you like best, whoever matches you, and uh, collaborates with you in the best way. Um, and adds to your life really, and have children with them, but Don't be a no eugenics Volker. I mean, I guess do you think I can't stop you from living your life? But I'm saying I'm not like that. I'm just joking around here with the proposition that Neptune gave. In that case, it sounds like a match made in heaven. Let's have a toast. And there's frigging Otohime holding. Yeah, so Fukabushi and them are born already. There's Otohime holding them. To the future of my little brat and your shaggy daughter. Shaggy? She will not be shaggy. What? What the frick? Oh my god. Alright. I guess Neptune is a shaggy man, maybe. But look at Otohime though. That year, all library, Elbaf. Of course you can settle down here, Saul. I appreciate that. Okay, so this is right after the whole... This is right after... Because this is 20 years ago, so this is after the O'Hara incident. And Saul found himself a place to settle here. But I wanted to ask you something. Was that... Would you join with the educated of Elbaf and open a school here? A school, huh? Sounds nice. Okay. Okay. And there's Ripley. That's an idea. Okay, so that's how that came about. 15 years ago, there was a shocking incident in Sacred Marijoa. Oh, Fisher Tiger, my slaves have escaped. They've broken their cages open. Get out, hurry. You want to spend your life in chains? There's Fisher Tiger running. Who's that standing there? Damn it! You a knight of God? Who is that? Is that Shamrock? Ooh! I've left the armory unlocked. Here's how to get there. What? Damn it, you're not of God? I've left the armory unlocked. Here's how to get there. So wait, Shamrock is secretly a good guy that wants to free slaves? Or is that Shamrock? That looks like Shamrock. You're a knight of God? Okay, so Fisher Tiger knows about the God's Knights. What the heck? That is Shamrock. Or is that Shanks? Could that be Shanks? If that's Shanks, that's interesting. So Shanks is kind of playing a double role of being a pirate and a God's Knight? I mean, that would explain why he's able to meet the Gorosei. We saw it in the Reverie. Oh, okay. So Shanks was part of that slave escape with Fisher Tiger. That's very interesting. 15 years ago, how old would Shanks have been? He'll be in his mid-20s. Is this before or after Luffy? Nah, this is before Luffy. Shanks would have met Luffy 3 years after this. Yeah, 12 years ago. Oh, wow. If this is Shanks, that's crazy. So Shanks would have been about 24 years old here. That's insane. Okay. Here's how to get there. Okay. Ah, what? Is that gunpowder? Hurry, sister. Sander Sonia and there's boy Hancock. Someone's come. They're fighting for us. We can escape this hell. Hurry, Koala. There's Koala. We're getting out of here. This incident, caused by the future captain of the Sun Pirates, Fisher Tiger, was known as the ransacking of Sacred Marijoa. And you see here, we've seen this panel before of Boa and her sisters, Boa Hancock and her sisters running away. But it seems like maybe Shamrock, but I think Shanks actually helped them out there. Sounds like it was quite the night. We're thinking someone from our side might have opened up the armory to them. So we're looking for the rat now. The rat! Hey, the memes have come to reality. The rat! Put him to death. Harald, allow me to introduce you. Huh? This is Shanks. It is Shanks! Yo! That's his son! But Shanks! So you're telling me the Roger Pirates disbanded and my boy Shanks said, I'm joining the God's Knights? I'm turning a new leaf? But did they know? Okay, couple of questions. One, how does Shanks know? Or how did Shanks end up finding out that he is, I mean, obviously Garling's son, right? That he is a celestial dragon, right? He's of noble blood, right? How did Shanks find that out? For one thing. Second, oh, this brings so many questions. Second, why would he leave? Yeah, after spending Roger Pirates, he left Buggy. We saw that scene with Buggy. He says, "I have somewhere to go, something to be." He decides to join the God's Knight and help people out from the inside. And thirdly, does Garling know that Shanks is part of the Roger Pirates? Surely they would know. Did Shanks come in there and be like, I was raised by the Roger Pirates, but I'm not actually a pirate. Like, I've changed my ways. Or did he come there like, man, I've had a rough life and completely lie about being part of the Roger Pirates? Was it a well-known documented fact that Shanks is part of the Roger Pirates? I don't know. I'm saying at this point in time, but currently probably is, right? I'm assuming it. I'm assuming people currently know that Shanks used to be part of the Roger Pirates. But back then, did they know? Did the God's Knights know and still allow him to be a member? Because that's wild. This is Shanks. He's the younger brother of Shamrock, separated after birth. He's been through the gauntlet of the lower world, but if entered into a Death's Covenant, he'll be an instant boost, likely on the level of Shamrock. For the time being, we'll use him as a devoted blade of God, like you. I thought the same thing with Shamrock at first, but have we met before? What? When would Harold have had the chance to meet Shamrock before? Harold was not part of the God's Valley incident. We know that. He was not part of God's Valley, and even if he was, Shamrock and Shanks were both babies at the time. Then at any point after that, when would Harold have had the chance to meet Shamrock? Obviously, when he joined the God's Knights, but here Harold is saying, I thought the same thing with Shamrock at first, but have we met before? Shanks says, "Whoa, Shanks looks scary here. Why is he bandaged up? What happened to him?" Shanks looks very different here. See the Shanks that's not smiling or anything. Unless this is Shamrock. This might be Shamrock. Is Shamrock the one that's bandaged up or is it Shanks? I don't know you. You great lumbering peon! That is Shanks! What? Shanks is so weird! He's not gentle or smiling or nothing. This is 15 years ago? You're telling me Shanks met Luffy only 3 years after this. This is a completely different Shanks. How dare you speak to me as if we're equals? I've always had the blood of a Garland in my veins. Mark my words, I'll be a knight before you. Oh, my mistake, he says. This is so weird. But when would Harold have had the chance to meet Shamrock? I can't be the only one confused by that, can I? I'm trying to think, y'all. I don't know. Is it maybe a mistranslation? I doubt it, though. That's rare. Hmm. Okay, I'm gonna look at something here, okay? I'm gonna look at the other translation and see if maybe... Yeah, I'm gonna look at other translations, see if maybe it's a translation thing and I'm misunderstood. can't find. Gosh darn it. Okay, found it. Okay, in another translation, he says he's currently for Shank regarding Shanks. He's currently our assistant in his capacity as a docile governor chapter like you. Okay, that's what they call the debtor thing, the lower thing. I know I said the same thing when I first met Shamrock, but I feel like I've met you before. Your face is familiar to me. Weird. So the translation is fine. It's just maybe a devoted blade of God. Okay. Oh, my mistake. Okay. I'll just move on to the next page. We'll think about it some other time. Oh, that's Aura. That is sick. The two brothers walking side by side. Let's go, Shamrock. Tell me more about the Holy Land. I want to be the hero who captured the one responsible for the attack. Any clues? Devoted Blade of God, the Garland family, Saint Shanks. There's still time to do this once your wound is healed, Shanks. Wound? I wonder what type of wound he got. Oh! Wait, I'm stupid! I'm stupid! Oh! Oh, Blackbeard! Oh! I'm so stupid! Oh! Damn, Blackbeard got his revenge, but he wasn't even Shanks. But I guess Shanks appeared to him as a god knight, as a blade of God. And Blackbeard's like, yeah, y'all killed my parents. I'm not having none of it. Freak you, Shanks! Oh! Until your wound is healed. And Shanks says, out of all the injuries I've received in my past, even my arm, like, you know, his arm got cut off. This wound is the one that hurts the most. The one that stings the most is the eye wound. And this is here. He's still bandaged up from it. Oh! So wait, how old was Blackbeard at this point? This is 20 years ago. So this is a young Blackbeard. Blackbeard been like... No, this is 15 years ago. Didn't they say 15? And Blackbeard was born, well, was like a year old during God's Valley, 39 years ago. If you did the math, he would be 24 years old now, right? Yeah, okay, so, yeah, he's 24, or 20, yeah, 24-ish. And Shanks is also about 24. Or maybe Blackbeard is 25. Let's check. How old is Blackbeard? He could be 50 or 25 at this point, but he could be 50 today and not 49 years old. Or sorry, yeah, 40. What I'm taking 50, 40, 50. I'm talking about 40 instead of 39, and he's indeed 40 years old. So he was 2 years old during the God's Valley incident, and Shanks was only 1. So currently, or 15 years ago, he would have been 25 years old. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And Shanks was at this point 24. And this is when Blackbeard gave him that scar on his eye. That's crazy. You don't know how it feels to learn that you've wasted 24 years of your life. I always knew I was different from the others. Holy Knights of God, the Garland family, Saint Shamrock. That you've wasted 24 years of your life, huh? I always knew I was different from the others. I hated everything down there. And, dang, that's crazy. I'm looking at the previous panel where you see the bandages on Shanks' eye. And, Harl looking back at him. I think Harl knows that Shanks is just acting. Or he has a suspicion of it. That's insane to me, man. How are we getting more Shanks screen time here than in the actual story, though? Come on, man. This is sick. That year, Fisherman Village, Albap. Nope, can't help. I don't know enough about medicine. Let's call Harold and ask him to send out a good doctor with proper stuff. No, you can't. He's busy with his job. What's a government connection for, if not this? Just watch. I'll get better on my own. So this is how Ida ends up dying slowly. Seems to me you've been getting worse by the day. Harold will be heartbroken if he sees you like this. You run the bar for me, Mato. No, not when you're sick, Ida. Wow. So we got to see her when she's much older and running the bar in current day. 15 years later. Giants grow. Yeah, they have a certain puberty period. That's interesting. They grow quick like that. 15 years. Okay. Or maybe her puberty period is just starting soon, and 15 years later she looks more grown. I don't know. Again, this is giant timeline, not human timeline. You know what Harold does each time he comes home? He visits all the elders and asks you to make you his true wife. The fool. I prefer running that little bar, meeting all those sailors from far off lands. Makes me feel like I've been helping Harold out in my own little way. Okay. Hey, outsider hag. Whoa, Loki. Got some fresh meat to feed her. That bar's a nice chill place for me to hang out at. I need it open again. He's gotten bigger, but he's still the same impudent brat inside. You're the only one who can tame that little beast. Harridan's off with his comrades, searching overseas for a doctor for you, so both of your sons have a lot of love for you. You're all making a big deal out of nothing. I'm just fine. That's real sweet of them, though. Okay, so Harridan's out with the buds, the other giant chumps. Brewer's Village, Loki's mother's home, Albath. Huh? What'd you say? I said we don't want that outsider woman becoming the queen. You agree with that, right, Loki? Astrid's the true queen, and she's from our people. They can't take away our fortune and status. Bro, his mother treated him like trash, bro. So we gave that wench a little poison. These ergot spores won't stop once they've taken root. It's certain death. That's crazy, Loki. What you gonna do about that? You can't accept that. Astrid was a terrible mother, bro. Mato, get in touch with Harold at once. I will. It doesn't matter if you're not related by blood. Loki's my dear, sweet boy, just like Harudin is. Ah, Loki! Stop! Okay, he's destroying them. Ida ain't gonna die, is she? I remember what my real mother did. She cast me out of the tree into the underworld. You want fortune? You people make me sick. Ida ain't gonna die, is she? Because she's... Loki's just lonely. That's all. Wanna live with us? She's the only mother I have. Man. Everyone deserves a mother, man. Okay, so he wrecked the village. And that's the end of the chapter, y'all. Great chapter. I enjoyed it a lot. Seems like this is how Ida dies. Because of poison, because of just greedy people. Damn. Loki's my sweet boy just like Haruden is. Oh man. Crazy. But that's another chapter, y'all. Amazing chapter. I mean, just for the Shanks and Shamrock thing alone, seeing the Shanks being part of the God's Knights, helping out Fisher Tiger, and then the scar that Blackbeard gave him. So good. I'm glad I read this. Obviously, I'm glad I read this. It's One Piece. Every week, I'm glad I read it. But yeah, that's crazy. That's another chapter. Like the chapter a lot. The chapter might be called Ida's Sons, but I feel like it was a lot more focus on the whole Shanks and Harold aspects, to be honest. He the Suns had a little bit of shine at the end there. But okay, we're reaching the 1 hour mark, so I should end it off here. I hope you guys enjoyed me reading this chapter as much as I enjoy reading the chapter itself. And I'll see you guys, I believe next week we have more One Piece chapters, right? I'm saying we just read 1167, so I believe next week. See? Whoa. Yes, sir. We're gonna chapter next week and the week after. W. See you then. Like I said, I hope you guys enjoyed watching this as much as I enjoyed reading this chapter. And alright, y'all. Peace.